Mother mysteriously handed her son a gift. Inside were several female corsets. The son's reaction was surprisingly happy. He couldn't wait to put them on. Then the mother took out 2 buns made of wool. After saying that, she stuffed them into her son's underwear. The son touched the buns. A smile of satisfaction appeared on his face. Not long ago, Rin was training in judo class. Rin's shirt was ripped off by his opponent. His scream was met with ridicule from his classmates. Since then, Rin has become a woman in the classmates' eyes. When he returned home, he smashed his judo uniform in anger. Then he hid in the corner and cried. He couldn't understand what was wrong with him. His mother was called to school by the teacher. The teacher reported that Rin was always excusing himself from gym class. Luckily, his mother knows her child very well. A boy whose desk is full of fashion magazines and pretty things. She stood by Rin and supported him. When she got home in the evening, Rin finally told his mother what was on his mind. He wanted boobs. His mother wasn't surprised or angry. Instead, she reassured. Mom hugged Rin tightly. She only wanted Rin to be the person she wanted to be, so she gave him female corsets. She also knitted a pair of fake breasts with wool. With his mother's love and care, Rin grew up healthy and successfully completed his gender reassignment surgery. Now she is a caregiver in a nursing home. She is gentle, generous, and independent. Except for her civil status, she is just like any other woman. In addition, she has a boyfriend Makio who loves her. When Rin was taking care of Makio's mother, Makio was attracted by her gentle and attentive manner. Man or woman or not, Makio loved everything about Rin. One day Makio came home with a little girl behind him. The girl's name was Tomo, Makio's niece. Her mother was an extremely irresponsible woman who often disappeared. Tomo lived alone at home on rice balls and instant noodles. The mother occasionally came home looking drunk. There was little communication between mother and daughter. One day, Mom left a note and money on the table. Tomo knew that her mother had left home again. Angry, Tomo could only come to find his uncle. On the way back, Makio prepares Tomo. There's a new woman in the house, only a little different. When Tomo really saw Rin, he was stunned. It turns out that the difference that Uncle said was the case. Do you know how transgender people reincarnate their deceased organs? The girl was curious and picked up a yarn. The woman told her she had to knit all 108 of them and then burn them in a fire, saying goodbye to her lost identity as a man. It is also a farewell to her former self. When Tomo first met Rin, Tomo was intimidated by this tall woman. She looked like a man in every way, and yet she was as gentle as a woman and could cook a good meal. At night, Rin asked Tomo to help her make the bed. Tomo was puzzled to see that Rin had breasts too. Rin saw through it instantly. She tells her who she is. She used to be a man, but now she's a real woman. Rin also wants Tomo to experience the feel of her hands. Tomo was very curious. But he held back. The next day Tomo sat on a park chair. She opened the lunchbox Rin had prepared for her. She was instantly amazed by the lovely meal. She had never eaten such a beautiful lunchbox before and couldn't bear to eat it. Rin came home in the evening and saw Tomo frantically going in and out of the toilet and smelled the lunchbox on the table. Immediately, he realized that he had brought the medicine, but he shouldn't have. He took it upon himself to prepare lunch for Tomo, but Tomo said,
違う。タコに目ついてるし、あんな可愛いお弁当初めてだったからすぐに食べちゃうのもったいなくて、もうちょっとしてからゆっくり食べようと思ったらもうダメになってて、でもどうしても食べたくて。
Hearing this, Rin couldn't help but hug him, but Tomo couldn't accept the contact with Rin. So he got up and ran away. A few days later, Makio sat with Tomo on a chair at the nursing home and told her Rin's story. At that moment, Rin brought rice balls. Tomo hesitates for a moment and puts it in his mouth, but after 2 bites, he threw up in disgust. Without a mother's love, Tomo lived on rice balls every day, so much so that now she feels sick when she sees rice balls. That night, Tomo had a nightmare and Rin gently held her and sang a lullaby to lull her to sleep. The next day Rin took Tomo to the supermarket to buy something. She runs into her classmate Kai and her mother. Kai's mother sees Tomo with Rin and warns her not to be with strange people. When she heard this, Tomo pushed the woman away from her and kept nosing at her with the detergent in her hand. The incident ended up at the police station. Rin kept apologizing. Tomo was stubborn and refused to admit her fault. At home, Rin taught her to swallow whatever people say and try to endure it. When she was very angry, she would knit. She would knit and scold until her anger subsided. Rin and Tomo's relationship grew stronger. She told Makio that if Tomo's mother didn't come back, she would like to adopt Tomo as her daughter. Makio gladly accepts. Just when things were getting better, Tomo's mother suddenly came back. The girl keeps hitting her mother, blaming her for never leaving her alone. Angry, Tomo runs out of school. On the bridge, she suddenly saw her mother who had disappeared for a long time. She rushes home thinking that her mother is back. When she returned home, she found no one there. Tomo cries as she hugs her mother's clothes. On the other hand, her uncle and Rinjin are waiting anxiously for Tomo to come home. When Tomo came home, Rin asked why he hadn't been to school all day. But Tomo said, and hid in the closet. The next day Rin brought Tomo a paper cup phone. The two of them were talking about their secrets through the closet door. Tomo finally told Rin that she had seen her mother yesterday, but she didn't come home, and she didn't come to her. Soon after, Rin took Tomo and Kai to eat cake at a restaurant, but Kai's mother saw her. She reported Rin to the childcare facility, saying that the living conditions were not good for Tomo. The staff interviewed Tomo alone and checked her body for injuries. When they saw the girl's affection for Rin, they were relieved to leave. On the other hand, Kai's mother returned home. She found that her son had chosen to disappear on his own. It turns out that Kai has a crush on his senior. He even wrote a letter of confession for this reason. But before he could send it out, his mother found it and tore it up. So he chose to end it this way. But fortunately, he was rescued. Tomo told him in the hospital that your mother may not be right, but you are definitely not sinful. Finally, Rin's 108 woolen items were finished. The three of them went to the beach and piled up all the items. Rin set fire to her past and burned all the memories with her own hands. She made a wish to the gods. After updating the gender on her civil status, she was able to adopt Tomo. But on that day, Tomo's mother came back. She came to take Tomo away. Her uncle pleaded with her to let her adopt Tomo. Rin was sincere in her request, but Tomo's mother laughed contemptuously. She laughed at Rin. She doesn't even know how to choose underwear and tampons. How can a transgender person take on the responsibilities of a mother? As she kept humiliating Rin, Tomo immediately rushed up to her. Tomo forced the mother to be speechless. Finally, Mom had to leave, but Tomo still couldn't let her go. She rushed to hug her mom and promised to go with her. Before leaving, Rin gave Tomo a gift. When she got home, Tomo saw that the house was in a mess and was now tidy. Hopefully, she won't leave again this time. She opened the gift. Inside were Rin's woolen breasts. Once Rin's mother had poured her love into these little balls of wool for Rin, and now Rin was passing that love on to Tomo. Since I can't be a mother myself, I have to give all the love to Tomo. Undoubtedly Rin is lucky. She has a mother who tolerates everything. She has a boyfriend who loves her, so that she can grow up healthy. And in real life, probably most people would be like Kai, suffer from prejudice from family and society. For sexual minorities, kindness and tolerance and equal treatment will be enough for them to face the world with courage. After all, we are not different.